Hi there, cooking from the Disney Princess Cookbook, and it's a bread recipe. I was really excited to see a bread recipe in this because, this book is designed to maybe help get young ones interested in cooking, or for old ones like us who maybe just need a refresher or never got into cooking and want to learn some stuff. But it's a bread recipe. It's called Bonjour Baguette, and it's inspired from Belle and Beauty and the Beast. There's their little picture. The baker at the beginning had the bread he sold like every day, she commented on, so I assume that's what it is. But yeah, this looks like a very simple, basic bread recipe that we're going to put together. Okay, so first up, I've got half a cup of warm water in my mixing bowl here and a packet of active dry yeast, and I'm just going to sprinkle this in and let this sit for just a little bit until the yeast dissolves into the water. Okay, it's been a few minutes, and I think it looks like the yeast is dissolved. So now I'm adding in some more water, and this is water I made sure was room temperature. Next, I'm going to put in a little bit of salt. Now finally, I have flour. I am just going to use a regular all-purpose flour. Give this a nice stir now. Kind of get the dough forming. Now it says take a cutting board and put like half a cup of flour in this, on this, and then to pour the dough out onto this. Now I'm to start kneading the bread until all the flour is kind of mixed in together. Here's me trying to remember all the kneading techniques I see them doing on the baking shows when they're making bread. So they get a groove. Okay, I need to put the bread in a bowl, and it says to grease the bowl, so I'm just going to use a little bit of olive oil spray I have. I'm going to sit this in here, and it says to cover it with a damp paper towel and let it rest in a warm place for about an hour until it doubles in size. So I actually have a bread proof setting on my oven, so I turn that on, and I'm going to stick it in there for an hour. Here is my dough out of the oven, or after the proving drawer, I should say, the proof setting. I'm not sure if it quite doubled, but definitely is bigger than when I put it in. So next I'm going to take my baking sheet here, and it says to sprinkle just a couple tablespoons of cornmeal on it. Assume this will help it prevent it from sticking. All right, now I need to cut it in half. Okay, so now I need to shape these into two 12-inch long ropes. Okay, this dough is pretty pliable, so just kind of do that. All right, so now I need to cut a few 1/4 inch deep diagonal slits on the top of each loaf. So I've got my here. I need to cover this again with a damp paper towel and give it another hour to rise. It's been another hour. They didn't get super big, but they did grow some, and I had some issues with the paper towel sticking to the bread. I'm going to brush some milk on them, and then I'm going to bake them in the oven. So here are the cooked baguettes out of the oven. And I wanted to show, I had some hard time getting them off the pan. They actually did stick some, and you can see where I kind of tore the bread a little bit trying to get them off. So let's talk about the Bonjour Baguette. Sorry, I have to always say bonjour in this weird accent or something, which I know is very terrible. And I mean, no offense to anybody out there. It's just a fun word to say. Bonjour. Anyway, and I also love alliteration. Bonjour baguette. Anyway, okay, get sidetracked. So overall, I enjoyed the bread. It was good. It was tasty. Obviously, I had some issues, the bread sticking to the pan, as you saw. I noticed when I proved it as well in the oven the first time, I put that damn paper towel on top, like it said, and I put the proof setting on my oven. I think it was too warm because it dried the paper towel out and it was kind of sticking to the bread. So I actually had to pull it off, and I had to like pull some of the dough off to just get it to come off. I didn't quite get a video of that, but it was a little tricky there. And I'm trying to remember from my Great British days. I've actually been rewatching it recently, but I think if it's a little dense, it means you overproofed it. So I feel like mine was definitely a little overproofed. It's hard to tell science, but again, the thing with this bread though is it's forgivable, and at least it's edible. You know what I mean? It's probably not going to pass a baking competition judgment. It's not going to be something that you can serve in a restaurant and people are going to go wow about, but for yourself, for at home, it's an edible bread. And I think that this recipe is a good intro to trying to make bread, especially because it's very simple. So I'll get into the rankings and explain a little bit more. So first is the ingredients on a scale of 1 to 5. This is a 1. 1 means all these ingredients are simple, easy to find, not expensive at all. You basically just need some water, some yeast, and some flour, and you can make some bread. Oh, and some salt, but yeah, and you can make this bread. Difficulty on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being easy and 5 being hard, I'm gonna put it a 3. You're probably not gonna find many bread recipes below that because again, bread is a little tricky. There is a science to it. There's an art. So, and I clearly made some mistakes when you see them on there, kind of going on the pan. But I think with this and with, other breads, yes, you can maybe not put it in the oven long enough or prove it long enough or overprove it, but you're still going to get something that's bread that you can eat. Again, may not be like wowie zowie bread, but it's edible bread. And then would I make this again on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being never and 5 being absolutely? I'm actually going to give it a 4. Not my great first attempt, but I do enjoy kind of like trying to figure this bread thing out. I think a lot of people did during the pandemic. I did a couple things with the pandemic with bread. I didn't go too far with it, but I did kind of appreciate what this was, and I kind of understand where I maybe made some mistakes. So I can definitely see myself attempting this again sometime, especially if I just need to whip together some bread for like a family function. Again, it's probably not going to be this amazing thing, but I think it'll be good enough, and people will still be like, they'll try and be like, oh wow, you made this? Like, oh, that they'll be impressed by that. Again, may not be like judge worthy for Paul Hollywood, but it's definitely good enough, I think, for the people that you love.